Addressing the equity issues in infrastructure needs to start with explicit consideration of the impacts that infrastructure has, both the benefits it creates and the costs it imposes on certain parts of society. If those costs are too great to be borne, then we need to think about whether the piece of infrastructure or the aspect that we're trying to change is in fact worth it. Again, traditionally, the greatest good for the greatest number is a good and fundamental basis for planning. But we do have to address the negative implications it has for those who are negatively impacted. At the same time, it doesn't mean we shouldn't proceed with infrastructure just because some people are negatively impacted. But it does mean we have to make explicit consideration to those who are negatively impacted and compensate or provide them as close to the same environment they had before the change. I think part of the challenge in restoring or curing some of the sins of the past in infrastructure development, elevated highways being a good example, the building and then abandonment of ports being another, mines a similar thing, can be addressed in a number of different ways. It doesn't mean we need to choose the most expensive. The benefits to a place like Boston, the benefits to a place like Seattle are immense and will be borne over generations. The implementation cost at times is a result of expensive and perhaps unknown or untested methods of construction. Similarly, we could find ourselves in a situation where we discover unknown conditions. And this is particularly true in the port sector, where things may have been spilled, things could have been stored, and the new ways of detecting impurities in the soil really have created new needs to invest. In a world where you could forever move west on the frontier or south on the frontier, this wasn't an issue. Today, we are no longer in a world where there is much of a frontier. We've occupied everywhere, and we need to understand the implications of that. In some cases, we will have to pay very expensive costs or deal with the health and civic negative outcomes that would be associated with failing to act. In my view, we can't fail to act. We can be both green, equitable, and fair. But we have to make all of those considerations explicit in our planning and in our implementation processes. We have the ability today to sow the seeds of equity, fairness, and prosperity for generations to come. We also have the potential to create the conditions for abject failure, poverty, and inequity. The choice is ours, and I think I know which one I'd make.